Because if you don't know yourself, if you don't know who you are, then you can't have a style.
But in this type of situation, you are there to hold the space for them. You are there to help them feel supported and seen and taken care of.
There are certain things that you really need in order to create more outfit. One of the big takeaways that I want them to have from all of this is finding some part of themselves that they're like, you know what? I like this part of me.
Welcome back to Main Character Energy. I'm here with the brilliant Susan Padron. I'm Kelly Moser. Susan, for people who have made it this far in our conversation series, who are thinking that they're ready to start prioritizing themselves, they're ready to start stepping into their worthiness, stepping into their ability and their desire to express themselves, what do you want them to know about what working with you or working with another stylist even, what does that process look like?
So I always love to start in the closet. That's always our first step. Even when I work with clients virtually, we always start going through your closet first.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll do a color analysis before then, sometimes after. It just kind of depends. But the closet is where I like to really begin because it gives me so much information about my client. It tells me, this story of who they were, who they, want to be, who they're becoming. All of that I gather from their clothes and the clothes that they have in the closet. And we go through everything. I usually start by having them show me the pieces that they actually like to wear, because that gives me the information for, where we're going, like the definitely like the steps in the direction that we're going to be taking. And then we go with the pieces that they don't like. And that's where we start clearing some of that out. Sometimes my clients really don't like a lot of things in their closet. And then we talk about, holding on to some things until we find an appropriate replacement, because that is really important too, because I don't want them to be left with nothing. And after we go through the closet, after we do a color analysis, then we do shopping sessions. And when I work with clients in person, that looks like I go shopping for them ahead of time and I bring clothes to their house.
What a dream.
And they get to try everything on. We incorporate some of their old pieces with their new pieces, so we're making new outfits and really like putting things together so that they don't have any questions about how to really incorporate their pieces. And I handle all the returns and exchanges, so they don't have to do any of that. It's just all they have to do is try on clothes.
Oh my gosh. In the comfort of your own home too, without like a crazy bright dressing room light.
Right. Or the pressure from a sales associate or having to worry about, whether or not you're getting the right feedback from the friend that you're shopping with. And, there's so many other factors that, come into play when you have to go shopping by yourself that just don't apply when you're working with me or you're working with a stylist.
Totally. By the time you get in the dressing room, sometimes if you're doing this on your own, you're like exhausted. Yeah. You're annoyed. You're hot.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. You're probably overheated.
I always get into the dressing room and I have to like peel my clothes off of me because I'm so sweaty from walking around and just being frustrated and flustered. And you don't have to do any of that when you're at home and Susan is bringing you only the things that are actually most likely to work for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Because we talk about all of it ahead of time. So there aren't really like too many surprises. I usually start with things that are like specific items that we talked about. And then depending on how my intuition guides me, then, I'll pick some things that we didn't necessarily discuss or that feel a little bit different from what I would normally picture my clients in. But there's usually a reason behind that. And it's either something where, my client tries it on and they fall in love with it and it becomes like their new favorite thing. And then we can take that comfort zone and expand it even further. Or they try it on and they might not resonate with it but it helped them to see themselves differently for the first time. So they might not be ready to take that step yet, but they know that they're capable of doing it.
Yeah.
And that is a gift, I think. And because it's just something that really shows them what they can be capable of if they want to.
And I think some people might think like, well, I don't have any big events coming up. Like I don't have a major life event. I don't have a wedding coming up. But you style people for every day.
Yeah, every day.
Do we need to think about, okay, I'm going to ask Susan for help with my professional wardrobe and my personal wardrobe? Like how much of that do we need to sort out in our minds before you come in and start looking at our closet and helping us?
You don't need to sort out anything. We can figure it out together. I usually help my clients determine where the gaps are missing, like where the gaps are in your closet, like where there are certain things that you really need in order to create more outfits, whether it's tops or bottoms or shoes or, a combination, a little bit of everything. We talk about all of that. And I can really see that pretty quickly once we go through your closet.
So if you're listening and you don't know exactly what the problem is, like that's kind of the point. Susan's going to help you figure out what the problem is.
Exactly.
If something's feeling off, that should be your sign to start looking for some support.
Yeah.
If people are feeling really inspired after listening to this, what do you want them to do right now? Where do you want them to go next?
I want them to think about themselves and really try to figure out different words to describe themselves. And not like any of the roles that they play in their life, but like who they are, like describing their personality. And if they can't do that, then try to think about how your best friend or your partner would describe you if you weren't there. And because once we can have those words that we use to describe ourselves, then that can be translated into how we choose the clothes that we want to put on our bodies. And it's such an important part of the process. And like starting there, that because if you don't know yourself, if you don't know who you are, then you can't have a style. It's because you don't have anything to grasp onto, to hold on to bring in, to say like, this is who I am, if you don't know who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. For those who are thinking, I really want to do this, I don't have $3 million to budget for a totally new wardrobe right now. How do you help people think through the process of building a great wardrobe while still being mindful of whatever budget they might have?
We talk about that. We talk about where their priorities are. I work with clients who have a very wide range of budgets, some that don't have a budget and some that have very specific and limited budgets and everything in between. So I have experience in knowing where to shop for clients and how to really work with a budget. But it really does come down to what their priorities are, what they really want now, what they need now, and finding versatile pieces so that they don't necessarily need a ton of clothes. They just need the right clothes in order to have outfits that they can really maximize and get a lot of use out of.
I love that. It's, again, like focusing to become all of a sudden so much more expansive. Like you're expanding actually by getting a little bit more specific and focused.
Exactly.
Is there anything else you want people to know about you and the way that you work, Susan?
I think I would love for people to just understand that it's not a scary process and that I am really here as your cheerleader, as your supporter, and I am like your number one fan when we're working together. And I always say, feel free to throw me under the bus. Be like, well, Susan told me that I had to wear this. I'll take that one for the team. But it's something that I think we all really need. Most people have friends that they're really close to, or like they have a best friend, but there's something so special about the relationship that I get to have with my clients where, we get to explore who they are without any judgment and just with curiosity and creating that safe container to do all of that and to explore and try and succeed and grow.
Yeah.
It's all part of that.
And in all of our other relationships, we have to be so reciprocal. We have to give back and hold space for the other person. But in this type of situation, you are there to hold the space for them. You are there to help them feel supported and seen and taken care of. And they don't then have to take you shopping and help you with your stuff. It's like, this really is just for you to allow yourself to feel taken care of by yourself and by someone who really understands you and sees you.
Yeah.
Susan, you are just so wonderful. This was such a fantastic conversation. If you're listening right now, where should someone go if they're like, I want to get on a phone call with Susan, or I want to apply to work with Susan right away?
My website is definitely the best place to go. It has a ton of really great resources too. Like my blog has so much information too. So if you're just kind of curious to learn more about some of the things we talked about today, my blog is great, but my website for sure. Yeah.
Amazing. And your website is?
It's SusanPadronStylist.com.
Perfect. And we will link to that in the show notes for sure. Yeah. Susan, any final words for our listeners?
I think just I want the listeners to really focus on something that they want to highlight about themselves. Mm-hmm. I think that's definitely one of the big takeaways that I want them to have from all of this is finding some part of themselves that they're like, you know what? I like this part of me.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And it can change tomorrow too. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be the same thing all the time, but finding something that they want to like and show off.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And let your style ground you in your season of transition. Let that be something that grounds your evolution, grounds your expansion, grounds your transformation, because you are worth it. You are worthy of walking out in the world and feeling unstoppable and spectacular and confident and sparkly and whatever other words you want to feel like. And your style is an amazing way to help yourself embody that and express that. And let me tell you, from firsthand working with Susan, there is nobody better to walk you through that process and help you feel as spectacular as you know you should feel.
Thank you.
Susan, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. It's been such a pleasure. And head to SusanPadronStylist.com.